What is a woman? We are going to get real. Tonight's show is not for the easily offended. You may be triggered, so you've been warned. Welcome to the 8:30 show. Today is Thursday, June 9th, and welcome to the 8:30 show. I'm KJ, and every Thursday night you'll find me here at 8:30 p.m. on YouTube at the Metro Conservative Media YouTube page. Please hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. At the same time, I'm also live on Facebook at the Metro Conservative Media Facebook page. Like our page and join the conversation by commenting on this video. I will respond to your comments throughout the show. Whether you agree or disagree with me tonight, I am bringing you all of the OMG moments from the Daily Wire's documentary, What is a Woman? So the title of the documentary is What is a Woman? So let's talk about that a little bit. Dictionary.com defines woman as an adult female person. Okay. For you guys that are faith-based or Bible believers, the Bible says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And then in Genesis 2:18, it shows how God built up the woman from Adam's rib. So instead of forming her as he had done in shaping dust into Adam, men and women, in literal terms, each bring unique and necessary characteristics to the human family. So in Genesis 2:23 says, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. So I want to shout out those definitions just to give you guys some varying definitions of what is a woman. But today, as we can see, we cannot define woman. Okay, take a look at this exchange as the part of this documentary in clip 1.
You would call in my field of work an essentialist.
So this guy here.
You just really don't want to answer the questions, do you?
I came today very willing and enthusiastic about answering questions about women's and gender sexuality studies, which is what I do.
You wanted to answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
What is a woman?
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now.
You won't answer
a woman
the question.
is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
I'm not seeking any type of definition. I'm just seeking a definition.
Yeah, okay.
One.
So as we can see, so just to set that up, that was Matt Walsh. He is the interviewer in the documentary, What is a Woman? And he is going around asking doctors, medical doctors, psychologists, professors who are highly decorated, have multiple PhDs and things like that. What is a woman? And so there he is talking to a professor at a university specializing in gender studies, women's studies. And this man cannot answer the question. So again, what is a woman? Why is this so hard to answer? So again, we had Supreme Court Justice candidate Ketanji Jackson Brown, now an actual justice, who refuse to answer the question also. So why? So I am of the opinion that it's not a hard question to answer, but the left does not want us to define male or female. They want a society where eventually man and woman are non-existent. Is that a big deal to you? It should be, because what happens when we stop defining and erasing the differences and meaning behind what is a man and what is a woman? What happens? We erase what is father and what is mother. You know, my son, he just started summer break. And so every day he does Bible study with his grandmother. They do it for, a couple minutes. So they're working on scripture about honoring your mother and father. So Exodus 20:12 says, honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. So take a minute and just understand that when we remove male and female, the next progression is mother and father. So that relationship and designation signify order, and it represents a line between adult and child. This is all connected, guys. So when that line between adult and child is erased, what comes after that? Pedophilia. Now stay with me, because I know some of you are saying, now, wait a minute, this is not, that's a drastic jump. But listen, you already have schools on the West Coast getting rid of the requirement of titles when addressing teachers. I had a friend who moved to the Pacific West Coast, and upon orientation for her son, who was going into 3rd grade at the time, the head of the school told him not to refer to him as Mr. He said there the children call teachers by their first names. This is all programmed. This is all connected. That is why they're changing language. That is why the left is changing. They don't want to define, don't want to give definitions to male, female, woman, man. They don't want to do it. I want you to take a look at this next clip. This is with a doctor. She's a nationally renowned gynecologist, Dr. Marsha Bowers. Take a look at this exchange.
Talking to us.
My pleasure.
So you're a world-renowned gynecologist and surgeon. Right. You're also a transgender woman. Can you tell me a little bit about...
Well, I mean, I identify as a woman.
What's that mean?
But...
You're a woman, right.
That's what he said.
I mean, that's my life, day to day. But I have a transgender history.
What in the world?
So one thing on your website, it says gender-affirmed, GAV, gender-affirming vaginoplasty. Mm-hmm. What is that exactly?
A vaginoplasty is creation of female, a female vagina and vulva. We're altering the physical characteristics of the individual to fit better with a gender identity that is female.
Frankenstein.
This is all constructed from the penis?
Yes, that's right. The surgeries are quite refined in the sense that they really, not only do they look like female anatomy, but they also function that way. For the most part. I mean, certainly it's a bit of a Faustian bargain. It's not perfect.
Oh, not perfect. So this is how one becomes a real woman. So first of all, she said she has a transgendered history. No, ma'am, you are a trans woman. This is your present. You're going to be a trans woman until you die, unless you somehow transition back to what you were born as. There's not a history, it's present. And you heard what she said. So the renowned doctor who calls herself a woman with a transgendered history, whatever that means, was Frankenstein a monster or was he a man? Help me understand this. It makes no sense. And so all of these surgeries that they push on this, throughout the documentary, they were talking about these surgeries that these people have and the medications that they have to take. Is this a money grab? Is this what we're talking about? I want to go to some of the comments. before we move on. So let's see here. We have Christopher Anderson. Hi, Chris. Yes, the opposite sex, different makeup than a male. They are a female. How can anyone not know these people are trying to brainwash our children? Exactly. It's ridiculous and it's disgusting. And the whole idea behind this documentary, which I certainly I recommend everyone watch. I'm a Daily Wire member. I've been Daily Wire member for I think about a little over 2 years now. And you do have to be a member to watch the documentary. Again, this is www.whatisawoman.com. I really impress upon you guys to watch it because the stuff that comes out of this documentary are outstanding. I mean, it's mind blowing. You know, it's actually funny. It's informative because you just don't understand the hardcore. I mean, these people are all in. Okay. But then that's kind of scary because you think about these people, these doctors, these psychologists that Matt Walsh is interviewing, and you're wondering, these are supposed to be intelligent people, and one, they can't answer a simple question, or they don't want to because they're so stuck in their dogma. I want you to take a look at this third clip. This is a pediatrician, okay? This is a pediatrician. Take a look at this.
Michelle Forcier, and I have a medical degree from University of Connecticut, residency, University of Utah, pediatrics, and I've worked for a number of different Planned Parenthoods for 20 years. I do advanced contraception and abortion, as well as gender hormones, and sort of looking at the whole sort of schema of gender, sex, and reproductive justice.
So you've done a lot of work in this field. Could you just start by telling us?
Sure.
At what age can a child first begin to transition into another gender or identify themselves as a gender different from how they were born?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's research and data that show that babies and infants understand differences in gender. Some children figure out their gender really early, and the reason why we say, oh, that's interesting or important is because they're figuring out their gender identity is not necessarily congruent with their sex assigned at birth.
When the doctor sees the penis and says, this is a male, has the sex of male, that's an arbitrary distinction.
Telling that family, based on that little penis, that your child is absolutely 100% male identified, no matter what else occurs in their life, that's not correct.
So what is gender?
Do you hear her? Telling a male identified, whatever that means, because they have this little penis. What is this? This is a woman, as you can see, she went through her whole resume of degrees. She's a pediatrician, and she is telling children, as a child can transition, babies and infants, they understand the difference in gender. She is recommending hormones to these children. She is actually giving kids hormones and starting them into transition, allowing children to define reality. I mean, this is nuts. I want you to take a look at this next clip. She goes on. I believe this is her again.
Affirmation care, you're a big proponent of. If we walk through, a child is sitting down with you, is questioning their gender. What's the gender affirmation process?
What is
affirmation means that as a pediatrician, as someone who says my job is to provide the best medical care for you, is I need to listen really carefully. And how I put it in words for kids so that they can understand it is tell me your story. Where have you been in terms of your gender and your gender identity? Where are you right now? And more excitingly, where would you like to be in the future?
It's exciting because she gets to change them.
A 4-year-old
the mad scientist
who believes in Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
So this is someone who believes that a fat man is traveling through the sky on a flying reindeer at lightning speed, coming down his chimney with presents.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is someone who maybe has a tenuous grasp on reality?
They have an appropriate 4-year-old handle on the
Sure.
reality
Agreed.
that's very real for them.
Agreed. But Santa Claus is real for them, but
Yeah.
Santa Claus is not actually real.
Yeah, well, but Santa Claus does deliver their Christmas presents.
What does
Well, yeah,
that
but he's not
mean?
real, though.
To that child, they are.
When I see a child who, believes in Santa Claus, and then let's say this is a boy and he says, I'm a girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone who can't distinguish between fantasy and reality. So how could you take that as a reality?
Right.
I would say that as a pediatrician and as a parent, I would say how wonderful my 4-year-old and their imagination is.
Not when you are about to give them puberty blockers or transitioning or hormones to transition them out of their current biological gender, by their biological sex. Can you guys believe what this woman? So she's a pediatrician. Okay, she said children as young as babies. 4-year-olds have the mindset and authority to change their gender. That is what she is saying. So do you understand? I just want to make sure people understand this, because a lot of people say, why do you care? The next step is they have a mindset to go into a relationship with adult. She is actually saying when a child, a baby, has sexual desires. They're sexual being. So when you couple this with the sexualization of children and how the left pushes sexual promiscuity, this is absolutely the next progression. This is not a wide jump. This is exactly what they are doing. So they are saying that eventually this comes into, my 4-year-old can tell me if they want to be a boy or a girl. They're sexual beings. So why can't they have some type of sexual relationship with an adult? This is what it's about. This is why we need to pay attention and we need to care about this. Take a look at this next clip.
We're talking about gender and sex, and there's a lot of controversies there. If we're talking about a trans woman has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be
He's a professor,
a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you asking the question? I think I want to understand sort of why that's so important. So if someone tells you...
Just to sort of understand reality.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. So if a person says that they're a woman or they're a man, then that's them telling you their gender is. I'm not so sure what social interactions would have to do with maleness or femaleness that would be.
I'm not even talking about social context. I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth.
Right. What is the truth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of getting to the truth. Again, in social life.
Why is that uncomfortable?
Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're going to stop the interview.
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you...
How is the word truth condescending and rude?
Is this man crazy?
Why don't you tell me what your truth is, and you're walking on 30 seconds more of thin ice before I get up.
What my truth is? Well, I don't think I really have a truth. I think that there's just the truth, like the reality. And so we should begin by trying to figure out what the reality is.
And
wow. So you saw how he became very uncomfortable when he mentioned the truth. Isn't the truth important? It's important because some men don't want to have sex with other biological men. Dummy. I mean, what do you mean? Why do you need to know whether a man is a man and a woman is a woman? What is a woman? What do you mean why are you questioning that? We may be in a social context where I need to know if you have a dick. I mean, how about that interaction? But you know what? He's uncomfortable getting to the truth. And this is what we see on the left, and this is how they catch you, because, as I've said many times on this show, I was a Democrat for most of my life. And I can recognize and acknowledge now that as a Democrat, I didn't really pay attention to facts and statistics and the actual data behind these different policies and these different issues. I just went with the headlines that were shot at me on the news, and that my friends, and slogans that people said, my body, my choice. That made sense. Get the guns off the streets if we have mass shootings. That makes sense. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts of these issues, and you get down to the actual truth, the policies and solutions that the Democrat Party and the progressive left push out don't get to the root causes of these issues. They never do. Every time they don't want to talk about the truth. You see, hear what he said. He said, you keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. These are the people that are supposed to be counseling kids on gender and authorizing that they take puberty blockers, hormones, and carve up their penis and testicles into vaginas. Wouldn't you want these people to know and recognize truth? I don't understand this. I don't even understand how, on the previous clip, the woman was talking about how, the vagina can be formed into this and that. I'm not sure about that. My vagina can't be reformed. It goes back to the old adage, it may walk like a duck and talk like a duck, but it doesn't feel like one. And she all but admitted that. This is crazy. This takes me back to what I said in the beginning of the show. Why do these people refuse to answer the question, what is a woman? They know. That's number one. They know what a woman is, but they are denying truth. They continue to push a narrative based on emotion and rejection of objective truth. And then they're trying to push these narratives and these principles on children who need the truth. If anybody needs the truth, it's the children. And don't let them say it's none of our business, because that's what they say. Why do you care? You see this, that was brought up in the documentary multiple times. Why do you care? What's the big deal? It is very important. People believe they can create their own realities, and feelings become the final arbiters of good and evil. That is dangerous. That is very dangerous. When people are led by emotion and facts are secondary, we have chaos. And if you don't believe me, look at our cities run by progressives who are led by emotions and little facts. They are in chaos. Our education system is chaos. Faith-based institutions are no longer led by biblical truths. They are in chaos. We are no longer told to seek truth because people don't want to face truth. And then you have them sitting here talking to children who need guidance and need to be guided to truth. They live in a reality most times. They live in a dreamland. They live in a fairy tale land. And they then want to take advantage of that. They need to know how to find truth. Children on up to adults. We need to know it. We need to recognize it and embrace it. Good or bad. This is how we get to the root cause of problems. These progressive policies are leading to the collapse of the nation. They are not providing solutions to problems like crime, failing education systems, destruction of families, and generational poverty. The progressive answer to everything is racism. You heard what the guy said. So Matt Walsh, the interviewer, he just said, I just want a definition of what a woman is. I just want to get to the truth. And what did he call them? He called them transphobic. This is what they do. When you want to get down to the truth, when you're looking for facts, when you're looking for objective truth, they call you names and they demonize you. These things are not it. We need to wake up. We need to wake up because guess what? You are being deceived. I want to go to some of the comments here. So let's see here. We have Taria. She says she doesn't look like she likes penises anyway. Yeah. And the one thing I did take note in this documentary are most of the people that the Matt Walsh, the interviewer, spoke to, they were so nice. They came off very pleasant and just, until he probed a little bit. But most of them, other than the professor at the university, that gentleman, most of them come off very nice, very loving. That is not always the best thing. That is not always the best thing. But we have this society right now where, you can't be loud. You can't be, too honest. We're in these echo chambers on social media where you only hear thoughts and you only see messages from people that agree with you most of the time. And so, again, this creates a false reality. It really does. And I've always been an advocate for diversity, not just diversity of ethnicities or diversity of skin colors or diversity of religions, but diversity of thought is very important because we need to be challenged on our thinking and challenged on our thought processes and things we believe. Sometimes when you're challenged, you find out, hey, what I always thought or what I believe to be true is true. And then sometimes you find out that you were living a lie, that you were mistaken, that this is not true. But whatever it is, we need to get down to the truth. This is very important. I know we are getting to the end of the time. I want to end off with this, and I know I've said a lot of Bible verses tonight, but this is what I know to be true. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Again, we need truth. We need to recognize it. We need to look for it. It needs to be primary in our lives. Our children need it. Our children need guidance. And this is important. So we are at the end of our time tonight. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to share this episode. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on there as Be More Conservative, BMORE Conservative. You can always check me out there. Again, share this video, share this with on your timelines, on your Facebook, on YouTube, send it in Messenger. And again, I really, really recommend that you check out the full documentary. Again, that's at www.whatisawoman.com. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of the 8:30 show. Again, we are all over social media under Metro Conservative Media. Like, share, and leave a comment, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, check us out on the web at www.metroconservativemedia.com. We love to get your feedback. I hope to connect with you again next Thursday at the same time, wishing you warm days and starry nights. Good night.